welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and we have a jam-packed show on tap for you today. One wide receiver said Jayden Daniels, he's going to be the next CJ Stroud. He's going to be Stroud 2.0 this season. I'll break down his comments coming up. Also, could CJ Stroud have some shades of Tom Brady coming in this season as he progresses as a quarterback? I'll break down those comments in the latest Sports Illustrated article. And one UFL player I think the Texans should sign if they sign any UFL player. I think there's one in particular I would want them to sign. I'll tell you that at the end of today's program. And also at the end of today's show, I love me some trivia. Have a trivia game tonight in my sports trivia league. I have a question for all of you folks at home, and please do not look it up. I'll tell you the answers at the end of today's show, but can you name the last 5 players to win Offensive Rookie of the Year? One of them should be a dead giveaway if you are a real one, a Texans fan out there, but can you name the last 5 guys to win Offensive Rookie of the Year? That coming up at the very end of today's show. Let's get right into the first story of today. Terry McLaurin, wide receiver for the Washington Commanders, recently compared Jayden Daniels to CJ Stroud, saying they're very similar. And obviously, you know, Terry McLaurin, a former Ohio State Buckeye, pretty close with CJ Stroud, and he's saying, you know what, Jayden Daniels reminds me a ton of this guy, and I think the comparisons of the two really go on and off the football field. This is what McLaurin had to say. I have a history with CJ Stroud, just knowing him and getting to know him and what he's made up of, and the adversity he went through at Ohio State, and it built him for what he was ready for now. I think Jayden Daniels has a similar story to where he started out at Arizona State, goes to LSU, has a good first year, but that second year he takes off, man, and he wins the Heisman. I think that's a testament to his work ethic and how he tries to prepare each and every day in practice. He treats every practice and every rep like it's a game rep situation. Obviously, some glowing remarks from Terry McLaurin in favor of CJ Stroud. And as we look at the numbers from their last seasons in college football, I mean, pretty similar. Both of them had amazing years for their respective colleges. CJ Stroud in 2022 and Jayden Daniels in 2023. I mean, very close touchdown numbers, interception numbers, passing yards, completion percentage, a little bit more in Jayden Daniels' favor. But, I mean, the two guys obviously both balled out in college football. And Jayden Daniels obviously has a lot of similarities to CJ Stroud going through that. You know, he was the second player taken in his draft class. He was the second guy. Also, you know, had an amazing college career. I think Jayden Daniels, with the new regime in Washington, with, you know, the skill players he has around him, Terry McLaurin, I think is a very underrated player. Could surprise a lot of people. And the latest Offensive Rookie of the Year odds going into 2024, obviously Caleb Williams, the number 1 pick, the heavy favorite. But Jayden Daniels, that next guy right behind him at plus 650. Marvin Harrison Jr., a very, you know, interesting pick. More wide receivers have won the award than you would probably think. And then J.J. McCarthy at plus 1,700. My question to you is, who do you think wins the Offensive Rookie of the Year this year? I asked you at the top of the show who the last 5 winners were. Who do you think wins it this year, though? Do you think it's Caleb Williams? Or are you going possibly with Jayden Daniels, somebody who's been getting comped a lot to CJ Stroud? Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Next up on today's show, could we see some shades of Tom Brady going into CJ Stroud's game this season? There's an SI article that I found pretty interesting, comparing CJ Stroud and his maturation of a quarterback in this league to Tom Brady. And the one big thing that they pointed out with what CJ Stroud needs to do this year to elevate his game is what he's able to do pre-snap at the line of scrimmage. And, you know, Tom Brady, he talked about this also earlier this offseason. He said on developing a quarterback, the ability to develop that player to give him the tools so that when he gets to the line of scrimmage and he sees a blitz, okay, if they're blitzing me, these are the 2 protections I can use when they blitz. These are the 2 or 3 routes that I can signal to my receivers that can beat this blitz. You're trying to get the quarterback to really be a field general. Quarterbacks, you've got the last swipe at the pencil. And I think this is an interesting comments by Brady. And also, we've heard it from offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick throughout the offseason of, you know, year 2, what to expect from CJ Stroud. How does he improve on that rookie year? And a lot of it comes to, you know, Bobby Slowick mentioned in his press conferences earlier this offseason that, you know, rookie year, it was really about getting Stroud's feet wet, really just like letting him go out there and sling it and let his natural ability kind of show this rookie season. That won't be as much of the case this season. A lot of defensive coordinators are going to be, more in tune with CJ Stroud, trying to stop him, trying to stop what he likes to do. So it's really going to be on CJ Stroud his second season to, come up to the line of scrimmage, be that guy who can really read defenses, read the blitz before it happens. That was one of my biggest, obviously not a ton of gripes. Obviously, CJ Stroud had an incredible rookie season, one of the best ever in NFL history. But one thing that he really does need to improve on if he wants to be, an MVP level quarterback is be that guy who can really, diagnose blitzes early, make sure your offense is already all set before that play clock runs out. Because there was a couple times last season where, the Texans got false start penalties. The Texans got delay of game penalties because this offense wasn't set. This offense wasn't ready. And CJ Stroud's got to be that captain, that leader who gets everybody ready, who makes sure everybody is on their right track before the play starts. That's going to be the next step that we see in CJ Stroud. And I just thought that was interesting, a little SI article about, Tom Brady and what he sees in, a young quarterback who can develop into being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, coming up, there's one UFL player that I think the Texans should consider if they're going to sign any guys out of that secondary league. I'll tell you who that guy is and what ties he already has with the Texans coming up in just a moment. But if you haven't already, go check out our friends at Fanatics. They have the brand new Texans secondary logo in this H-Town logo right here. I think it absolutely looks fresh. They have it in jackets, hoodies, long sleeves, t-shirts, whatever you're looking for, they have the style for you. If you go to chatsports.com/H-Town, that link will send you to the Fanatics website, exactly where all this stuff is. Go check it out. Some of the stuff is on sale. Some of the stuff might be selling out pretty quick. So go check out all the items they have available over there at Fanatics. One more time, chatsports.com/H-Town. That link will be in the comment section and description of today's video. Now, the one UFL player that I would consider signing if I'm the Houston Texans, Khalil Davis, former 7th-round pick from the Pittsburgh Steelers. His actually twin brother, Khalil, is on the Texans right now as one of the defensive tackles. And last year for Birmingham, he had a great season, one of the best defenders in the UFL. And I say this because, the Texans, they have a little bit of a depth problem, in my opinion, at defensive tackle. And maybe if they could sign somebody, maybe if they can bring some more competition in during training camp, I think that would be a plus. Khalil Davis, he flirted with the NFL here and there, was on the Falcons practice squad last year. They were heavily, bringing him in preseason, training camp, and then eventually on the practice squad to end the season. But as I've said in the past, the one thing that worries me with the defensive tackle room is stopping the run and being, that plug in the middle. They brought in Foley Fudakasi, who is going to be a really key part of this Texans defense, DeMeco Autry as well. But we look behind them, obviously, Carlos's twin brother Khalil Davis is one of those next guys up. Also, Tim Settle, who they signed in free agency. Kurt Henish, who, has had his ups and downs. I wasn't the biggest Henish fan last year. I thought he was okay. And then the late round picks, obviously you have Harris, you have Feldarius Payne, some guys who are unproven on this depth chart. Like I said, I wouldn't mind bringing Khalil Davis in during training camp, kind of see what he has. Obviously, I don't know how it's going to work, him playing so recently in a season, being in the UFL, being that it's a spring league, and being able to, come into the NFL, come into this organization and give them something this season after he's already, had a full workload during the offseason of the NFL. But, his twin brother Khalil, I think he's progressed a little bit. Bringing in Carlos could be another guy to just have in this defensive tackle room, having this depth chart to add a little bit more, security, add a little bit more depth to this room that maybe needs some at this point in the offseason. Now, going back to the trivia question of today, can you name the last 5 players to win Offensive Rookie of the Year? I hope none of you cheated, please. No Google searching. I want to know how much ball you know. If these are your answers, then you are correct. Here are the last 5 Offensive Rookie of the Year winners. The first one should have been a freebie. CJ Stroud won last year. Then it was Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver for the Jets. Jamar Chase, wide receiver for the Bengals. Justin Herbert, quarterback for the Chargers, and then Kyler Murray, the tiny quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. These are the last 5 Offensive Rookie of the Year winners. If you got them all correct, a little pat on the back for you. Good job. And obviously, you watch this channel, so you know ball. So I'm not surprised that you got it correct. That's all I have for you on today's show, folks. If you want to continue the conversation, if you want to hit me up on social media, at Jeremy Chuggs on Twitter is where you can find me. And as always, make sure you go down and hit that sub button if you haven't already. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Why not go down and hit that sub button for daily Texans news and rumors content all year long? We're keeping you updated. The best Texans channel on YouTube is right here. So go down and hit that sub button right now.